Good morning, IG. I'm here to do a pick-up pile on relationship readings. On relationships and love messages. So I want you all to pick a pile. I'm doing it on IG Live so I can record a longer segment. If you pick this heart, this is pile number 1 for your love relationship messages. Pile number 1, Rhodochrosite. This is all about the higher heart for me. You know what? I don't like this light. Hold on a second. Let's see how I fix this here. Yeah, so this Rhodochrosite heart for pile number 1, and this I forget what quartz this is as number 2. I know it has to do with the divine feminine energy and clearing. I don't remember right now what it is, but anyways, this is group number 2 and this is group number 1. So let's go ahead and start with pile number 1. What are your love and relationship messages? So you've got shadow work, understanding. Put these here. You've got the 7 of Swords, the 5 of Swords, yikes. And you've got the be open, honor yourself, and practice self-love. So first, let's go through the tarot, right? So 7 of Swords. 7 of Swords for me is always about, letting your thoughts get away with you. Some people take the 7 of Swords as deceit or betrayal or things of that nature. I feel like more so with these clarification cards here, pile number 1. The 7 of Swords, especially with the 5 of Swords, is more like you're facing an ego death. There's some ego battle within you regarding love, regarding relationships, regarding how you relate to others. You did choose this heart, Rhodochrosite. So again, this feels like a higher heart awakening. When we have higher heart awakenings, we tend to, purge any feelings, anything in the heart chakra that isn't helpful, i.e. some ego related to how we relate to relationships and others and love, and or how we deceive ourselves and keep projecting the same cycles in relationships, right? And so Spirit is saying, hi, you guys. I'm doing a pick-up pile. This is pile number 1. I will save this IG Live. So again, Spirit is saying, this shadow work that you're going through, this facing yourself and the different fragmented aspects of yourself and how you relate to love and how you deceive yourself in regards to love and how you're projecting that self-deceit, that lack of self-love into relationships. This is what you're going through. This is what you're starting to understand. You're starting to understand your own patterns in regards to relating to love and to relationships and to your partner if you're in relationship. Shadow work is always necessary. It's necessary for our understanding. It's necessary to work through karma. It's necessary to work through our own hang-ups, right? But of course, nothing lasts forever. Don't stay too much in your head. If you're having a really hard time with your thoughts or with your emotions or facing your shadow self has been really intense, because it tends to be that way, Spirit is saying, look at this as a way to understand yourself more, what's the word? Look at this as a way to understand yourself more deeply, right? But also understand that this is not all in your head, even though that's what I heard. Yes, it is in your head because it does have to do with ego, but it's your hangups with your mind, with your mental body, right? And so bringing understanding and awareness to those things automatically helps you transmute that and move forward. Like stepping away from the situation or whatever's you're doing, mentally, is a way to analyze, right? Why am I feeling this way? Where does it come from? How is it projected out into my relationships, right? And how is it being reflected back to me in the people that I'm attracting, right? So Spirit is saying, no darkness lasts forever. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Ultimately, this is about your understanding. Okay, this is about facing yourself. This is about not letting your thoughts get away with you. If you're in a relationship or if you're dating someone, if they are triggering something within you, what are they triggering and why? Is it really them? Or is it something from your past that you're still holding on to, right? Pile number 1. You also have the be open and honor yourself. So if you, pile number one, if you guys are looking for love, and maybe you're not finding it, or maybe what you're finding is a projection of your own wounds. What's happening to my connection here? Spirit is saying, you know, open up, realize that these are your own hindrances, these are your own blockages. Go outside, sit with the trees, you know, honor yourself, practice self-love, right? When we are practicing self-love and honoring ourselves and loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves, then we become open enough to allow somebody else in, for us to be able to not only give love from a more authentic place and not that ego 5 of swords, 7 of swords energy, but you know, we're also attracting a higher vibrational person as well, because we're no longer projecting the lack, we're no longer projecting the shadow, you know, we're projecting a more honored, loving, open self. Okay, so if you are that group of people that I'm speaking to that is looking for love and hasn't found it, or is getting a little angsty about that, facing the shadow in regards to that, Spirit is saying your first step in finding love is being love, is embodying love, is practicing self-love, is honoring yourself and being open. Okay, group number one. So I'm going to move on now to group number two. And group number two picked this quartz. Like I said in the beginning, this is all about the divine feminine energy. It's about clearing. It's about yeah, for me, it's about ancestral karma. It's about your divine life mission. It's about connecting to your divinity, okay? Let's see what cards came up for you today, group number two. So you've got the 10 of swords. Geez, so many swords energy today. The chariots. It's a little bit lighter. Mirroring. Compromise. Yeah. Trauma involved. Teach. And tranquility. Okay, so let's go towards, let's look at, and it's funny because these love messages today are more about self-work, you know, inner work, than about the actual messages themselves. Or so I guess this is where the collective is right now, and that's okay with the full moon in Leo coming up, like I mentioned yesterday in yesterday's post. If you missed it, there is a lot of doubt, a lot of solar plexus stuff coming in, right? So group number two, you're at the end of I wanted to say devastating cycles. You know, perhaps you've experienced some defeat. Perhaps you've experienced a breakup, group number two. Perhaps you are reaching the end of a cycle where love has been hurtful. Or like I said, those projections, and number one, those projections being mirrored back to you are coming to an end with the 10 of swords. And now you're moving towards lighter energy, or you're moving towards more clarity, if anything. This is probably my twin flame pile. If you recognize, if you if you resonate with the twin flame journey, I'm going to pull some more cards here just to clarify that. But I feel like you guys are finally moving past this time of, yeah, dealing with some really deep-seated wounds, perhaps from some trauma in the past, some trauma related to childhood, that has been mirrored to you in romantic relationships. I think you're seeing that, you know, love does take compromise, and not compromising your identity or compromising yourself, but more so compromising, you know, understanding that, you know, reaching that middle ground is important in relationships, right? And realizing that, you know, your side of the energy you're responsible for, right? Oh yes, the sun. So I love that, right? So yes, you guys have been through this 10 of swords energy. Yes, it's been tough, but now we're moving towards a new beginning, right? A new beginning. So if this is, like I said, my twin flame pile, you know, you were having some trauma mirrored back to you in this connection, and that of course was really intense with that 10 of swords, but you are reaching the end of that, right? You are reaching the end of the sadness of defeated energy, right? And that's because you faced yourself, right? And you're allowing this new energy to come in. You've realized that the mirroring has just allowed you to get to know yourself a little bit more in whether you're in connection or whether you're alone at this time, right? I'm actually going to, let me see, clarify this compromise and mirroring card as well. Group number two, sorry about that. I also feel like this is my twin flame pal as well, because I feel like I have some of my light workers here. Like some of you are meant to teach how to transcend this journey. Yeah, so there's a difference between compromising and settling, okay? Like a lot of you, if you were in like toxic relationships prior with that 10 of Swords energy, your karmic relationships, I feel like you're moving away from that now with the Chariot and the Sun. I feel like you're no longer settling. Yes, you realize that relationships take compromise, but it doesn't take compromising yourself, right? And I feel like that's really important. You guys may have been going through a purge as it relates to these old relationships, this old energy that wasn't aligned. And Spirit is saying again, there was some trauma involved on both ends. Like you've just ended some karmic relationship, and now your life is embodying more tranquility, and you are then able to teach others how to transcend these kind of karmic situations that involve trauma, right? I definitely feel like number 2 is my light workers. Number 2 is those of you who've done the work and who've been through, you know, some kind of ego death with that 10 of Swords. I'm going to pull one more card here. And now you're, you know, learning to find tranquility and peace within, of course. And not compromising yourself in relationships. Yeah, so Spirit is saying, you know, within a year, this change, this lighter times, this more aligned connection will be coming within the next year. There is still some vulnerability concerns in regards to a connection if we're talking about a twin flame journey. Well, 2 weeks to a year, so it really depends on your situation. If you stay caged up and don't express your emotions and don't discuss things with, you know, your future partner, then that can cause some issues. But if you open up, then, you know, promising times ahead. Okay, so group number 2, I hope that these messages resonated. If they did, like, comment, and share. I always appreciate the love. Sending you all so much love and light this morning. Take care.